Let's turn now to the historic week with the safe and successful return of the Artemis II crew from their trip around the moon and back. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seri wrapping it all for us.
Use integrity. Splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
The 4 Artemis II astronauts splashed down safely off the coast of San Diego following an epic 10-day trip around the far side of the moon.
Before you launch, it feels like it's the greatest dream on Earth. And when you're out there, you just want to get back to your families and your friends. It's a special thing to be a human, and it's a special thing to be on planet Earth.
Even before their return, the astronauts shared dramatic images of the moon, a total solar eclipse, and our home planet from a distant vantage point.
What we really hoped in our soul is that we could, for just a moment, have the world pause and remember that this is a beautiful planet in a very special place in our universe.
The crew traveled farther from Earth than any humans before and made the first ever ship-to-ship call between a moon mission and the International Space Station, whose crew includes the astronaut nephew of Fox News' very own Juan Williams.
I remember having coffee and sitting with you guys just before I left to fly up here, and it's just so awesome being able to talk to you right now. It's such a special opportunity.
Humanity's return to the moon comes more than half a century after America beat the Soviet Union there.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Less than 3.5 years after the Apollo 11 landing, the U.S. left the moon for less costly missions in low Earth orbit. But the discovery of frozen water at the lunar South Pole has ignited interest in building a base there.
We can take the water ice and we can turn it into propellant. You can get oxygen out of it, you can get hydrogen out of it, and we are going to need to master those skills because someday when we send American astronauts to Mars, they're going to need to make their own propellant to come home and tell us about it.
NASA is pressing SpaceX and Blue Origin to develop lunar landers to test in low Earth orbit in 2027 and deliver humans to the lunar surface the following year.
I got to be candid, that's our biggest concern right now. The lander is the biggest concern. But we're not just building the lander of 1969 through 1972. This is a much more advanced lander because, remember, we need to put cargo on the moon in order to establish that moon colony.
Adding to the urgency, the U.S. faces a new competitor in space. China plans to send its own explorers to the moon by 2030.
The Chinese space program, their taikonauts are making incredible leaps and bounds. It's not so much where they are today, it's how fast they're moving.
On their first manned test flight, NASA's Space Launch System rocket and Orion spacecraft performed well, with only a few minor problems, including a wastewater backup that limited the crew's ability to use the zero-gravity toilet.
This whole thing is a package. We can't explore deeper unless we are doing a few things that are inconvenient, unless we're making a few sacrifices, unless we're taking a few risks, and those things are all worth it.
The Artemis II astronauts purchased batons they plan to hand off to the next Artemis crew to symbolize the team effort behind humanity's return to the moon. Aisha?
Okay, Jonathan Seri, thank you very much. You know, we're all so proud, but Juan, you must be beaming with pride. I didn't know that you had that connection.
Yeah, that's my nephew. You know, for me, it's a mix of science and faith. You know, the science, obviously, that Artemis team went farther than human beings have ever traveled in space. And we've seen now the dark side of the moon, and we've seen Earth rise from the other side of the moon. But I got to tell you, you know, the faith side of this is, I just am amazed. I just trust. I mean, as they say, this was a human experience. When you think about it, you just worry. I was just so glad when that heat shield held and those astronauts made it back here safely. And for me, as I say, it's personal because of my nephew. I just worry for the kid. You know?
I saw the tears in your eyes and I felt it. It was such a unifying moment, I feel like, Michael, right? Hopefully the next generation understands why we're doing this.
Well, when they set that record, the furthest from Earth, the message that they sent back was a challenge to that next generation of make sure this record is short-lived. And I love that because space truly is the final frontier.
Yeah. Would you go to Mars?
No. Not at all. 25,000 miles an hour?
No. We're going to colonize Mars. Panel, thank you very much, and congratulations to you, Juan. It's amazing.